Okay, welcome to Science for Thursday, February 18th. We are doing Worksheet 11. I gave it to you and it is in your classbook folder. It should be, that's where I told you to put it. And you need to get it out. And if you need to go get it now, pause the video because we're going to do this together. Okay, we also are going to be reviewing for the science quiz, which will be tomorrow if we were in school, and it will be as soon as we return if we're not. Okay, so your chart looks something like this, but they have labeled A, B, and C, and your A, B, and C, which I'm going to have to put it down here, but yours is above it. So your A, B, and C are up there, but they are still labeling the same pieces. Okay, my chart is a tiny bit different than yours. But the first part that they're labeling is this cup-like part that catches a sound and leads on into here. So that would be your outer ear. Very good. So by the words outer ear, you are going to put the letter A. Okay? So this is your outer ear. Okay? Yours is going to, the A is up at the top. Okay? But put it by the words outer ear. Okay? Your letter B is talking about starting here at the eardrum and going to these bones. So it's this part right here, but your B is up at the top, and that is the middle ear. Very good. Outer ear, middle ear. Remember, the middle is in the middle. Okay, the outer ear is on the outside of your head. It's the part of your ear you can see. Outer ear, leading into the auditory canal. Okay. And then the last part is letter C, which is up at the top of yours, but it's still talking about starting here and going on, and that would be your inner ear. Very good. Now, on the quiz, that is all you're going to need to know. Just outer ear, middle ear, inner ear, and you will have to label those three parts of the ear. But on your worksheet today, we're going to continue on and do some more. So you've labeled A, B, and C as A, outer ear, B, middle ear, and C, inner ear. But your letter D is pointing to this part right here, okay? All right, this part right here, and I'm going to have to put my card up there, but your letter D is way over here, and it's pointing right here to this piece. That is the auditory canal. Right, so find the words auditory canal and put letter D by it. Make sure you're at auditory canal and not auditory nerve, because there is another place for auditory nerve. Auditory canal, just like what this says. All right. The next thing you're going to do is letter E, and they're talking about this thing right here. Okay, it's a piece of skin. It looks like a drum, so it is the eardrum. So by the word eardrum, you're going to put letter E. Very good. Letter E for eardrum. All right, and then the last one that you're going to label on your worksheet is letter F, and it is talking about this one that looks like a snail shell filled with liquid. That is the cochlea. Very good. The cochlea. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and label these last three, but you do not have these on your worksheet. They're pictured, but they don't have a place for you to label them. And that is the three bones inside the ear, which are the hammer and the anvil and the stirrup. Those are the three tiny bones inside your ear. And the last one that you don't have to label but is on yours is this auditory nerve. Now, you will need to know it for the quiz as far as the nerve that sends the message of hearing to your brain. The nerve that sends a message of hearing is called the auditory nerve. Auditory has to do with sound, okay? So the auditory nerve is the message of hearing, all right? So that is all you need to do is what's labeled is A through F. The hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup, and the auditory nerve are not on your quiz, not on your worksheet. But auditory nerve, you will need to know what the auditory nerve is, what it does. All right, I'm going to switch to the bottom of your worksheet by going to my I. All right, I is not going to be on the quiz, but it will be on future tests. All right, so you will need to know it. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty be sure. Let me check just to make sure. Okay, never mind. I guess we've already had it on our quiz and it's not on a future test. I thought it was going to be on a future test, but it's not. So, but we are having it on our worksheet. So let's review. We already had it on our quiz, I believe. All right, so the first one is letter A. And on my chart, they're pointing to the bottom part here, but your worksheet is pointing to the top. Okay, but it's still the same thing. This back part of your eye is the retina. Okay, so your letter A is pointing to this part, but it's still the back part of the eye is called the retina. All right, so yours is pointing right here with letter A. So put a letter A by retina. All right, there's the word retina, so you can find it, but you should be able to find it anyway. Letter B is actually pointing to this piece right here. Okay, letter B is pointing to this piece right here, and that is your lens. Very good, that is the lens. So put letter B by lens. All right, the next one is letter C, and they're pointing to this. All right, that is the optic nerve. Remember, the optic nerve carries the message of what you see or your sight to the brain. Optic nerve. Optic has to do with sight. So optic nerve, as compared to the auditory nerve that we already talked about, took the message of hearing to the brain. Auditory is hearing, optic is sight. All right, for letter D now, they are pointing to, just let me make sure, yes, they are pointing here to the middle part. It's actually a hole. It looks like a black dot, but it's actually a hole, and that is your pupil. Very good. So you're going to put D by the pupil. Okay, letter D by the pupil. And last of all, what makes that hole get bigger or smaller is the colored part of your eye. Very good. Or the iris. Very good. So you're going to put by letter E, your letter E is going to go by the word iris. Very good. All right, now let's review for the quiz. Okay, this quiz will be the very next time you're in school, whether that is tomorrow or next week. All right, so what are sound vibrations traveling through the air? Sound waves. Now, of course, you're in a quiz. You're not going to see me doing this. But just remember, when I say sound vibrations traveling through the air, think of sound waves. Okay, that's how sound gets to your ear, on sound waves. What are the openings in your nose called? Nostrils. Yes, most people have two. Normally people have two. Even lots of animals have two nostrils, right? All right. The middle ear contains how many tiny bones? Now, I've already pulled my chart down, but how many tiny bones were they? 3. The hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. The 3 tiny bones in the ear. The hammer, the anvil, and the stirrup. The tiniest bones in your body. All right, what do you call the tiny holes in your skin? We just read that recently because we just finished studying about the skin, and those are pores. Remember, the tiny holes in your skin are called pores. And remember, we said that they open up to help release sweat, okay, from the sweat glands. And they close up tight and make goosebumps to try to keep you warm, okay? But they are tiny holes in the skin, pores. All right, and what is the outer layer of your skin called? Epidermis. And the layer underneath would be the dermis, but the outer layer is the epidermis. All right, what is the liquid in your mouth that helps to soften your food? Saliva. Saliva. The liquid in your mouth that helps soften food is saliva. And the message of sound from your ear to your brain would be carried by what nerve? The message of sound, the message of what you hear, auditory nerve. Remember, auditory has to do with what you hear. So auditory nerve carries the message of sound from your ear to your brain. Auditory nerve. And when you're hot, moisture is released through these glands. What do you call the glands that release moisture? Those are your sweat glands, because that moisture they're releasing is sweat. So they are sweat glands. All right? And your tongue is covered with these little tiny bumps called taste buds. Very good, taste buds. And speaking of your taste buds, we learned 4 different types of tastes that your tongue can detect. So what were the 4 different tastes that your tongue can detect in the taste buds? Sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. Very good. I think I'm going to write those down because you're going to have to write these on the quiz. All right? All right, so the first one is sweet. I'm going to spell sweet for you because some people write the word sweat for the word sweet. Sweat is E-A. Sweet is E-E. You're going to see the word sweat on your paper whenever you have to tell me about the moisture that's released through pores to help cool your body down. Sweat is spelled with E-A, so sweet is E-E. All right? Sour. Sour is O-U. Ow. Sour. All right? Salty. Got the word salt. S-A-L-T. And then a Y to maybe salty. So sweet, sour, salty, and last of all, bitter with 2 T's. B-I-T-T-E-R. Bitter. Sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. Those will have to be written on the quiz. Okay? So you have to remember the 4 tastes that your tongue can detect through your taste buds. Okay? The other thing you need to make sure you're doing is working on your amphibian report, or some of you need to continue working on past reports because you did not finish them yet. So make sure you're working on your animal notebook, my animal notebook. Most of you are to the amphibian section now, and you should be working on your amphibian report. Some of you still owe me past reports, so make sure you're working on that my animal notebook. All right, and we'll see you tomorrow for videos if we don't have school, or in class if we do. All right, thank you.